All right, YouTubers and internet friends, what's up? Good morning. We're here for another perspectives video with Stephanie, David. Um, we're capping it at 20 minutes this time because the last one ran a little bit long, and I know that most people. I don't know. I look at my analytics and people like I'll have 5 minute videos and then people like dip out after a minute. I'm like, what?
You gotta ask the good questions in the
I
beginning.
guess my videos are pretty shitty.
You just
'Cause
have
I
to
don't
say
know how you could get what you get out of a minute.
because not everybody is as nerdy and has the attention span as you. They just want give them what they want. Give them what they want. Quick,
Like
not
this.
stop. Uncomfortable.
All right, yeah. So here we are. Thank you for thank you for coming back on the show.
You're welcome.
All right, yeah. So let's go. Let's do this. For those of you folks who are new to perspectives, it's kind of like a podcast. What do you call it? Podcast. I'm kind of trying to do a Joe Rogan kind of thing, kind of vibe here, where I try to promote conversations between myself and a guest, myself and you guys. Eventually, I'll do this live. I tried to do this live, but YouTube said I don't qualify for live for some reason. But this will be uncut and unedited. So here we are. Okay, what were we talking about? Number one, and it won't always be firearms related. That's just the wave that we're riding right now. We dropped in on a firearms wave, and we're like, oh, we're surfing, we're riding it in. I don't know anything about surfing, but yeah, okay, she does though. All right, go ahead. Sorry. What were we talking about?
You just said that you wanted me to share what I was saying to you in the kitchen.
Yes, I forgot what that was, but it was good.
I had those of you who didn't watch the other episode, it was a discussion about our family trying to figure out what firearms mean to our family and people making the mistake of thinking that firearms is a hobby. And you know, I can leave my workout gear around the house and it's not a big deal. You can't leave around firearms in the house. It's a big damn deal. So it's not a hobby, it's a lifestyle. And so it was the conversation of Lemana thinking about people and targets.
That's right. That's right. That's right. So my the targets I have they're steel silhouettes. They come in the rough shape of a person, and they're used for training, but they're not like a bullseye. And what I noticed with him is he would tell me, "Oh, can I shoot the person or the human?" And I'm like, whoa, that kind of, to me at his young age, and I don't think it like equates to any like, like causation and correlation and stuff, but I just wanted to nip that in the bud because for me, as a shooter, maybe for people who aren't too into the culture, like for me, I don't ever think that I'm shooting people ever in my mind. Like I never ever have it. I'm shooting targets. I'm shooting clays. I'm shooting a piece of paper. Like even if the paper is like in the shape of a person, like how you would think they have in like police, the police academy and stuff. That's kind of what I use. I never think that I'm shooting a human. Even when I go to self-defense classes or combat courses, when we're supposed to have that mindset of like protecting and being in a dire life and death situation, I don't do that. They're targets to me. But yeah, I just wanted to nip that in the bud with him. So we had a conversation and I ordered some new targets that are zombies, which I think is better. And I took off his Fortnite and Battlefield and Call of Duty off the PlayStation because we don't think that I can be having a conversation with him about being safe with firearms and being a responsible human being, community member, and then he's like shooting people on the PlayStation. And I'm not one to think like, I didn't grow up with video games, but I came up in that time, where people were like, oh, violent video games cause violent action. I don't believe in that, but I do think that with a child that's that young, it's kind of, I don't know, we just wanted to be consistent with that message.
So uncomfortable. Yeah, so as you can see, it's still a really like gray working thing in our family. I talked a little bit about our last video of I think the ultimate goal, as whether if you're a male or a female, is to be a balanced person and to have that, you know, that male tendency to think in these very itemized buckets, right? Zombie bucket, target bucket, human bucket. And then the other balance is to have that female tendency to connect dots, constellations, that one thing is connected to the other and the other. And I think what I have a hard time with is even in this conversation, after we had this conversation, I find Paakala and Leimana watching freaking Permit Patty. Peppermint. Peppermint.
It's like Cops.
It's not like Cops. It's what? It's some dude shooting other people. It's a bond.
No, don't make it sound like it's they're bail bondsmen, and they use non-lethal equipment. They're shooting people with tasers that need to be that they're very patient with the people. Watch it. It's if you're curious, it's called Patty Mayo.
And my gripe with it is we just had a conversation with my son about shooting people. And so again, it's you know, me growing up in LA where that's a normal image I see every day. I'm not trying to see images that I tried not to see as a little kid for my leisurely time, right? So it's not a good or a bad thing. It's something that we have to discuss. But
I also want to say, like, this is something that I realized when we were talking, when we had a discussion after this, like, I wasn't showing it to him to like teach him anything or like be like, yeah, this is what it was. It just happened to pop up on YouTube, and I as a male with a male thinking brain, I didn't put together the like, I'm trying to teach him this, and then now we're watching somebody like tasing people. Yeah, so it wasn't like I'm trying to promote like a tactical combative type situation. It was like flipping through the TV and coming up on Cops, and we're like, as two dudes, we're like, oh, we'll watch some Cops, like. But I get it. I understand what she's saying now. Like I shifted my perception and my thinking, and I think it's made me a lot better and evolved my thinking as an instructor and as an uncle, as a father, and as the male figure trying to navigate this.
I think like the 2 points that I want to make in this video is that no one prepares you for like what happens when people piss you off and they don't try to. Like when someone intentionally pisses you off, I know what to do. But if like you accidentally piss me off when you're trying to do something good for our family, I don't know what to do with myself. Right? Like I know you didn't mean right? I know you didn't like spite me and turn down the television. But in my thing, it's like, this is my second point, like, because of COVID-19 and even before then, whatever we do with our children, whether intentional or even just walking through the motions, we are gearing them for a particular lifestyle for at least a decade, if not two. So like for me, whether I knew it or not, because my grandparents raised me and because they were butchers, I was geared to be in the kitchen and to play in the kitchen. Because my dad was always hunting and fishing, I was geared to tinker around in the garage, which groomed me into, surprise, surprise, a super creative person who loves being in the kitchen. That, I'm always like connecting the dots and tinkering and playing around and exploring.
And that's why I have the complexes I have now.
Yeah, well, gift and curse, right? Like and I'm saying like we have Leimana, he's with us. He's 7 turned 8, and he spends half of his day watching you, exploring what you do, and it cannot be the only thing he does with firearms is touch and shoot. And this is a terrible example, but I'm just going to bring it up. It's like porn. If the only experience you have with another person is watching and looking and seeing and not interacting and not hugging and not crying and not actually like having a real relationship, if all you know of another person is porn, that's not even a real relationship. If I watch a bunch of porn and treat dudes or expect dudes to treat me how I see dudes in porn,
right, it's a skewed perception of reality.
It's the same thing with firearms, though. If all they want to see are a bunch of powerful or good and evil dudes with firearms, and he doesn't read about them, he doesn't understand the rich context of there's competitive shooting, there's collecting shooting, there's hunting shooting, there are rabbit holes upon rabbit holes. And because he's with me and you all the time, who are pretty obsessive people, it's not a matter of what it's not if Leimana's gonna go down a rabbit hole, it's what. Leimana has been obsessed with Beyblades since 3, maybe 2. Leimana's gonna go down an obsessive thing.
Yeah, he's a Beyblader.
Right? So if you even think about, like, I had a high school student say, hey, Miss David, can I talk to you about obsessive personalities? Because I just got a video game, and the last time I got something, I got really obsessed about it, and, like, he clocked in for hours. And so, I mean, I know I'm making this much for a big deal, but if my son is going to go down a firearm hole, is he going down correctly? And is the rabbit hole holistic, real enough for the community to benefit, or is the community going to suffer because he's going to be another douchebag with a gun? He's not, but he can be if the only interactions he has are poking, touching, and shooting. Like, there's so much more to that relationship, and we have to be intentional. So he has to read books. He has to not only watch movies, but read shows, read books. Like, it has to be everywhere.
This is where we don't disagree or differ, but something that, like, I tell her that she operates on a level that's kind of up here, and most people, like, I might be here sometime. Anyway, so I'm thinking, okay, safety, how to correctly operate one, how to have the correct mentality, how to, be safe, pretty much, how to shoot correctly, how to be in an environment with them where she's thinking, like, 360, we're talking movies, books, writing about it and stuff. And those are things that I didn't even, like, think about at all. It didn't even cross my mind. So,
yeah. But even like in you just listing, like, how to. Yeah. All of your lessons have a function and a purpose, but does it, like, again, is it a holistic view on it? Like, if he reads a story, will he be able to identify the character who should not have a firearm, who doesn't have the mindset for a firearm, and the one who has the correct mindset for a firearm? Because if you go to the level 1 basic pistol safety class, that's like the first 5 minutes of class. They're like, we're here to train you to have the right mindset with firearms. Like, so this little boy who sees these shiny guns, like, it's really easy to get seduced and forget that the mindset is the weapon or the tool. And will he hold on to that no matter how shiny the weapon is, or how bad the bad guy is, or how good the good, you know what I mean? Like, he's also such a social being. He's so impressionable that will he be able to tell a friend, like, no, let's not touch that firearm. I know what that firearm is. My uncle has that firearm. We shouldn't touch it anyways. Right? It's not even, we're not raising him. I think Leimana on his own, I think he'd be okay. I think Leimana.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Totally.
But like, we don't exist alone. Like, as Native and, like, local people, we're constantly assessing our value in relation to the community. So how valuable is he to the community?
Oh, he could definitely be an extremely valuable asset.
He could be.
Right.
And
or
also
being
being a tool.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm very hot.
Okay.
I think the conversation, but also the beanie.
Yeah.
I'm trying to cover this up.
It's awful.
And this.
Awful. And you know what the best part I like about it is, for a man who, like, tries to bank on life with his looks.
I don't bank on life with looks.
Those of you who know him in person, he is a hamburger. The biggest hamburger, right? So he's, like, the one to do all kinds of things, like, sassy. And so now this is happening, like, pubic face. And it's the best.
It goes beyond this. It's this. As long as this is good.
What is this? It's not even a shape. No.
The face.
No. The face is. Babe, when you look at people, you don't look at. Dude, what do you
people look? People. I guess. They
what? People. No, right. Dudes do this.
Yeah.
Dudes do this.
Well,
Women.
Don't generalize. That's not.
Okay.
I don't. We've talked about this.
Okay, fine. Many men do this. I would say a majority of the females will bookmark, but honestly, if they close their eyes and dude is, like, funny or smart or resourceful.
Like me.
or creative, if that lasting impression is in their mind, then like therefore they are attractive or something.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying.
That's
Doesn't matter.
not what you're saying.
Doesn't matter. I'm fine. Anyway, we're getting off topic.
Okay.
Also, can I remind you to be cognizant of your gesticulation?
Gesticulation.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, thanks. Just because last time we were hitting the. Yeah.
I think we're done.
No, we're not.
What?
We still have 20. We still have.
We don't have to exhaust the time.
We do. We have 4 minutes left.
I think
that's
we're
not
good.
that much. Gun chubbies.
Can't do this in 4 minutes. You have to cut this one.
Fine. Gun chubby. Gun chubby. This is something she noticed, and we had a discussion about.
I think our world would be different if girls got erections.
Okay, first, did you know what a chubby was?
No.
Okay, so a chubby is the budding stages of an erection. That's neither hard nor soft. It's getting there. It's like, huh? That's what a chubby is. Okay, go ahead.
I'm so happy that they all know now.
Well, how would they know
I
if we
don't
didn't
know.
define what
I
it was?
don't know.
Would
Like-
they thought we were talking about those little sausages you get at the store?
because you could be like the feeling of like your quad
Okay.
flexed
Yeah.
versus your calf
Yeah.
versus like your underarm.
Yeah. Okay, alright, go ahead, sorry. Women with chubbies. Ugh.
Be great.
Okay.
I obviously don't know how that works, but I think it's cool that you have a visual indication of how you feel, because we women don't. Like one of the young boys when I taught in New York asked if girls get aroused, do their boobs get hard? I'm like, no. Like, hard nipples have nothing to do with how we feel about you or other people. But you guys, like, I don't know for how long, like, go about the world, have all these emotions, and then if your hands are in your pockets, you can actually feel that emotion if you wanted to.
I mean, if you like that.
I'm just saying.
Okay, I
like,
understand.
We don't have things that move when we have feelings.
Okay.
All right, this is where it came from. Paakala goes to the ammo shop and speaks with the man in there, and the man just got a bunch of firearms in, and they're brand new out of the case. And I noticed that the two of them basically start getting little gun chubbies, because they are like, you can just see it. They're like, their eyes are twinkling, their mouths are moving a mile per minute. They don't know which box to open first. They're going from one firearm to the other, right? And what are you whispering?
Nothing.
What are you whispering?
I said that's exactly how it was.
And then they begin in detail to itemize the pieces of the firearm, from the trigger to the handle to like the firing mechanism from one spec to the other. And I begin to hear the same tone men generally speak of women. What did she look like? And then you start, mouthing off the waist and the height and the boobs and the face and the nose, and typically when I hear those conversations of men itemizing women, I'm fucking done. Like, I hate them and I hate life, because I feel demeaned. I feel like that they're really, really shallow. But going back to the conversation you were having with the man, what I realized is I could potentially be wrong, in that at no point when you guys were touching and looking at the firearm did you forget the firearm holistically. At no point when you were holding it and you were picking apart the pieces of the firearm little by little, inch by inch, did you not appreciate any less how beautiful the firearm was as a whole. I would not have been able to interpret that, because that's not the feeling I get when I hear men itemize women. And I know this is a huge generalization, and what I'm trying to say is that perhaps there are conversations where a man is picking a woman apart, but also, like when you were having the little gun chubby with your friend, like at that moment, as you guys are picking the gun apart, but also simultaneously honoring how beautiful it is as a whole, I never had thought once that males can do that when they're talking about women. And I think it's just the way that we communicate, and it's the way that we articulate things. But it was the first time I was able to put the pieces together that maybe perhaps the man had already, like, hands down, bar none, he doesn't have to say how beautiful she is as a whole. Like, he already gets that. And, like, breaking her apart is just even more so. I just had always assumed that, like, he fucking bypassed her holistically and started picking her shit apart.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to deny it. I know a few guys several that are like that.
Yeah, it's like ass. I talked to you about this. Like, guys can see ass, like a girl's ass, ignore the power gut, ignore the attitude.
I can't. But
many
yeah, okay.
can, right? And me, from a holistic health point of view, like, I see ass and I'm like, I hope you shit good. Like, I'm a health coach. Like, if your shit stinks, that sucks. Like, shit stinks as in, like, if the texture and the lump and the consistency of your shit isn't good, then that means your small intestines suck. I'm the size of our small intestines. Like, shit should not be backed up. When I see ass, I think of shit.
Okay.
I don't think a lot of people think of shit. But that's the house of shit. I don't care how beautiful your ass is. That's where shit sits. Like, that's... shit comes out of it. I don't think of...
Does it really, though?
Where does your shit come from?
Well, no, I'm thinking, like, we're talking about the gluteus maximus,
No.
the muscles.
Here, it's like this. If I look at a house, I think of the door that you enter and the people who live in the house. I don't look at the windows. I don't look at the paint. I don't look at the roof. I don't look at the trim. I think of the people who live in the house. It's the same way for ass.
Okay.
I would love to hear your thoughts on this. I know I'm not the only one on this life.
Okay, can we leave a comment about what's the question that we're asking? What do you think of when you see somebody's ass?
No, I think it's a bigger question. I think it's the picture of, like, what do you choose to see? And there's a time and a place to itemize things, and there's a time and a place to...
Oh, yeah, totally. I 100% agree with you.
But
at no point was I disagreeing with you in this conversation. We're just...
Yeah, but when you see ass, do you think of shit?
Well, it depends on how the person looks.
But why?
And how they're, like, operating.
Why?
If they're operating like this, then, like...
Who operates like that?
Well, if there's something, like...
Like a zombie?
Yeah, or something...
If I see zombie ass, I also think of zombie shit.
Yeah, me too. But if I'm seeing somebody that's... it's the context of the situation.
No, see, ass, shit, ass.
But to make it simple, yeah, I
shit.
probably think about that like 5% of the time.
What do you think about the... See, I don't even think of anything else. I'm just like, look at her ass. I hope she shits well.
Okay, first I look, did she work for he or she, did they work for that ass, or is that just...
There?
Yeah. And then if it is, yes, what is it for? Is that a powerlifting ass? Is that a running ass? Is that a... That's what I'm thinking.
All right. Okay. You have to do a lot of editing, my friend.
I'm not going to.
You should.
Why?
That's okay. Okay.
People like raw. All right. That's it. We went a little bit over, but it was good conversation. We're going to do more coming up, and I'll have more videos out to you folks. I just got to get everything edited. It takes a while because I don't have a computer. I use my phone. So you folks have a wonderful Thursday. Stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you folks next time.
I waved.
Good night, San Diego. You know what I always want to do?
What?
Be a news anchor.
You'd be great.
Wouldn't I?
Yeah, you'd be
Or a
great.
talk show host.
You'd be great. I think you should do it. It's not...